Hello, good day to you. Today on this video, I'll be demonstrating how to use firewalld to do firewalling a little bit more advanced. I made some introduction video to firewalld, so you can check out that video on my channel. So today I'll be demonstrating three major options of the firewall-cmd command. The firewall-cmd command has the --hash reach rule option, the direct option, and the remove reach rule option. So if you are not sure if firewalld is running on your system, you can do the systemctl or status to check it is running on my system. And if it is not installed on your system, you can install it. It is available on most of the newer, the most recent versions of the Linux distros. So let's see what we're going to do. So I am on my server is a Fedora server. So it's Fedora 25, and I also have another server actually. It is Ubuntu. So I have another server is called Ubuntu 16.10. So let's get to it. So the first option that I'll be introducing is the reach rule. Adding a reach rule. Why do you want to add a reach rule? You want to add a reach rule because you want to do a little bit more complex things than just the ordinary ad service. So let's say you want to target a particular IP, you want to target a particular subnet or IPset or port, you want to do port forwarding or something more advanced or complex. So let's go to it. So on this system, actually, I have a status HTTPD. I have a HTTPD service running. I'll be using for the demonstration. So if I do call on my localhost, or I get $stack is here. If I go to my Ubuntu server and I try to do the call on against my Fedora server, it is ultimately not going to be so it is not successful because right now I am not allowing the HTTPD I'm not allowing the HTTP traffic to come into my server. So if I do firewall-cmd list all, so there is no HTTP service allowed. That is why I was not successful. So let's say the goal is to allow just this server. So this server is actually 10.0.0.150. I just want to allow traffic from that my Ubuntu server alone. I don't want to open my port 80 for everybody in the world to access. I just want to add the firewall for that server alone. So that is where the reach rule comes into play. So I'll add reach rule is equals to, I'll put the single quote and I'll say rule. I can specify the family of rule, or let's say I'm targeting IPv4 only, and I'll say the source address that I want to match, which is 10.0.0.150. I can put /32 just to show that I'm specifically matching that IP address. The service that I am matching is a service name equals to HTTP, and the action I want to accept this traffic. So it's a success. So let's go and try the call again. So you see now it works. It says $stack is here. So that is one advantage of using the reach rule, because you can do a little bit more advanced things. So another thing we can actually do with this rule, let me reload my firewall. So if I reload, I'm going to lose my previous configuration because I am not using the permanent option. So let's say I want to log, I want to log every traffic from this server. I want to have it logged on as a log message. So I can do log prefix. Prefix is like maybe a particular phrase or word that I want to or appear in the log file. So I'll say prefix, I put web, and I can specify the limit. If I don't want the login to happen every time, I can to just to limit the rate. So that is where the limit comes in. So I can say limit value equals to, or let's say I only want to log it 10 times a minute, 10 per minute. That is what this means. So I can do this, and I've okay, say no closing quotation. That is true. I have to close this. So you see, now I say success. So let's go to here. Let's do the call again. So if I look at my log, I have to look at the system log in the var log. Sorry about that. var log messages. Var log messages. So you see, at the end there was a log. It's a federal kernel web in. You see, web was the the prefix that was specified. The interface is brex, and it told me the MAC address, the source, or the destination, and even everything about the TCP packet. The length, the type of service, the time to leave, or the protocol, and everything. So that is very informative. So if you need to log, the traffic that comes from this server, so you can use this log or prefix. So that is that. So what else can we do? We can, another thing we can do is actually let me reload my firewall again so that I go back to the default. Sorry, my server is responding a little bit slow, but that's fine. Okay. Let's do firewall reload. So that I go back to my default option. So another thing that we can do is actually we can, let's say we want to match a whole subnet. So let's say we want to match subnet of 10.0.0.0 or /8. So we can match a whole subnet. We are not limited to we are not limited to just one IP address. So let's move ahead actually. So another option that I would like to introduce to you is the direct option, which can be used. Okay, sorry, before I move ahead, so I just want to show you there are a couple of actions that you can actually specify. You can specify in your reach rule. You can specify accept, which we did. You can specify reject. You can specify drop or mark. So reject and drop are almost the same thing, but reject will reject and send back some ICMP messages back to the origin, but drop will drop without sending any messages. So be aware of that. So that means you can specify all those values here when we said accept. So now let's move to the concept of IPset. So IPset is a very powerful concept for matching like a range or multiple IP addresses. You can match IP addresses, you can match network, you can match port numbers, and you can actually match MAC addresses, interface names, or combination of those. So for example, let's say we needed to create another reach rule for a different subnet. Let's say the subnet is rather than 10.0.0. Let's say the subnet is 192. 192.168.1.0/24. And we did that. Let's list all. So if we do list all, so you see under here we have reach rules. We have two reach rules actually. One for the 10.0.0 subnet and one for the 192.168.1.0 subnet. But these rules are virtually the same thing. The only difference is the source address. So think about in a very large environment where you want to match maybe different IP addresses, that are not exactly in the same subnet. They are not exactly in the same network. How can you do this? The way you can do that is with IPset. So let's create our IPset. So to create an IPset, you have to use the IPset command and create. So let's call the IPset the whitelist or whitelist. So then we have to specify the type of IPset, because you can have many different types of IPsets. Like I showed you here. You can match on IP networks, UDP, MAC address. So here want to match. The data structure is the hash, and want to match IPs. So that's what we are matching. So this is the type of the IPset. So press enter. So let's add to this IPset. We have to add, the IP address and the range, that we want to match. IPset add. So let's say I want to add my 10.0.0.150 add, and let's say I want to add the 192.168.1.0/24. Or let's say I have another address, for example, let's say I have another address 172.16.8.200 200. Sorry, my system is a little bit slow to respond. So you see, I have these three different IP addresses and subnets. So one thing you have to notice is, look at all these addresses. They are very different. I have 10.0, I have 192, I have 172. Ordinarily, it is going to be difficult, to combine all these in a subnet or like an aggregate network. But with IPsets, we can, combine all of these. So, and we can do IPset list to show, the list. So you see a lot of IP address that we had. So these are the members. So the members include, this subnet and this IP address and this IP address. So let's say that that range is, what we want to match, in our firewall. So let's go to the firewall command. So unfortunately, the firewalld, does not allow at this time of recording on February 2017. We can achieve that using the reach rule. So that is where the direct command comes in. The -- direct, allows to, match using the match set using the IPset. And what the direct option is for is that you can, input some rules that are based on IP tables. IP tables, the IP tables command is more complex. It's been around for a long time. It's been, developed and advanced. The firewalld is, just came around a couple of years back. So, firewalld cannot do everything yet. So that is why we have the direct option. So the direct option allows us, to input some IP tables, the IP table rule directly, use from firewalld rather than using it with IP tables. So the option is firewall-cmd dash dash direct add rule. Then we'll have to specify the rule. So the rule is, all the IP table rules. So let me copy this command and paste it so that you see. First, let me first of all reload my firewall. Actually, reload. Oh, sorry. It's a firewall cmd dash dash reload. So if I go to my Ubuntu server again, right now I am not able to access, the web server. So because we have not added, the IPset command. So let me copy this command and explain it. So okay, let me paste that again. Sorry about that. I don't know why my system is responding so slow. So just wait for that to paste. Okay, so you see the command is firewall-cmd with the direct option. That means I want to add the rule. It's expecting me, to add the rule that will be, like you are writing an IP table rule. So add rule. So the rule is IPv4. So the filter, that is the filter we are want to the filter table is the input, the input chain. So the input 0. So we see M, the M option. Then we say, okay, set want to set, and what do we want to set? Want to match set. So the set we want to match is the whitelist, IPset. From this source of IPset, and we want to accept, the traffic coming from this IPset. So that is the command. So let me run it finally. So it says success. So one thing we have to notice is if we do firewall cmd list all, we are not going to see this rule here, because it is a direct rule, that goes into the IP tables. So that means what this tells us is, indirectly firewall they still, make use of IP tables. So we are not totally free from IP tables. So let's go to the Ubuntu and try the call again. See, the call is working. So, but if we can see this rule, actually, let's run the IP tables -l. So you see, the input chain is the chain input direct. That's the name of the chain now. You see, the match set is whitelist source. So we were not able to see, and if we notice as and that thing is everything that we did with firewall cmd, is still here. It's still under IP tables. So all the rules that we had, all the, you see this, these are the services that are allowed, the SSH, domain, FTP, they are still under IP tables. So we are still not finally free from IP tables, but at least we are close to being free. So the point I'm making is when you do firewall-cmd list all, you will not see the direct rule here. You have to go and look at the IP tables, and look at, if we look at the IPset again, the IPset list, look at all these IP addresses. If we need to write a rule for each of the IP addresses, then our firewall rules will get crazy. So if you have ever worked with OpenStack or in a cloud environment, especially OpenStack makes use of IP tables, and IPset is actually one of the major components. Because if you need to write a rule that will match, maybe thousands of IP addresses that are different, that are not in a single subnet, that will be crazy to manage. So that is why we use the IPset. So don't forget how to create an IPset. It's very easy. We use IPset create the name. I'm just using the name as the name. Then the type, the type that you want to create. Before we created the hash IP, we can have another type called hashnet. Let me create another one. We can actually have one that combines IP and port number. You can do IP colon port. So and if we run IPset list, so you have all the IPsets that I have available in these systems. So I think that's all I have. I hope you've learned one or two things. So okay, I think the last thing that I should tell is the remove actually. So to remove an IP a rich rule, you basically just need to add. So let me scroll back up to one of my rich rule. Let me add this rule back. Oh, my system is responding too slowly. Okay, but instead of having add, all you need to do is remove. And also with the direct, if you want to remove this rule, instead of having add rule, you have to do remove. So I think basically that is all I have, and I hope you learn one or two things. If you have any question, you can leave them on the comment, to benefit others, and I will try to provide answer. Unfortunately, my system is not responding too slowly because I'm connecting it to it via SSH. So I guess maybe I lost my connection, but I have covered everything that I wanted to cover. So remember the hard reach rule, the direct option for directly manipulating the IP tables, and the remove reach rule. So the direct option, make us realize that behind the scenes of firewalld, we are still using the IP tables or utility. So so there you have it. So thank you for watching, and see you later. Bye.